Hi buddy, it's Julia here and I'm back with a new process video because it's Monday. Today we are going to do some inserts for traveler's notebooks. Yep, because I like making them myself and I like my traveler's notebook. So I'm sure there are very many videos out there on YouTube of how to make them, and I just thought I would share how I make them. So I am starting off by some papers, and I think I'm using 10 here. And I'm just going to score them down the center, and I'm using regular copy paper, but the weight is 160 grams. I don't know what that is in US measuring thing, but 160 grams are really good paper. You can watercolor a lot on it. Of course it doesn't blend as good as on watercolor paper, but it's really nice. You can use different markers. I don't know how alcohol markers is, but you can stamp on it and all that. This paper I did in another video not too long ago, just showing how you can make your own really easy paper using watercolor. And I got a comment and was someone saying, I'd love to see you do something with that paper with this one. I hope it's that one she meant anyway. So I thought, I'm going to make that into the cover of my July book. And that's what we are making today. We are making the book using for July. So what I've done now is scoring the inside and scoring the cover. Yeah. So I'm just going to put them together and then yeah. So what I do is I start with the cover, measuring the center. Going to do that, and then I do that in centimeters because that's how I count, but then I flip it over to the inches and then go and make markings on 4 inches to the right and to the left, and then poke some holes. So this is going to be sort of like my template. So if you want to make a lot of these, I would suggest you take a heavier paper and make like a template you can use for all of them. So I put my cover on top of my pages and then make sure it's all lined up, and then clip it together, and then using my needle to point it through. Now if you have like a long reach stapler or something, you can just staple it, but I really like the sewing. I know it's going to keep it all together and I just really like it. Now I just use a really thick needle, but I wish I had one of those pokey thingies that I don't have. But anyway, I'm just going to use some embroidery thread to sew it. I know I have seen videos they talk about waxed thread and really thick thread and all that, but I just going to use some thread from my embroidery box, and yeah, I like it. I like it when you open it in the center, it's some pretty color and I like it. I know it's going to keep, and yeah, but if you don't like sewing, I happen to like it, but if you don't, just go and staple it, really. So I do is I start at the center and then I'm going to go up and down like every other, or like up and down, and then I'm going to go back, and yeah, you have to make sure it doesn't get all muddy because it does. And I'm going to go back to the center and then go on the other way down, and then yeah, that is really it. It's super easy. I think it's called saddle stitching, and that's why I remember it, because it's saddle and you have a saddle on your horse. Yeah. Um, it's really easy this way. So I'm come to the center and just going to tie a knot, and then yeah. So what I do is I just put my needle and go through, and then I'm going to cut it, and then I just take some multi-match medium and like rub it on the knot, so I know it's not going to go anywhere. Um, yeah, and that is, I mean, basically it. So if you wanted to make like an A5 book, you just take A4 papers and sew it together. But now we're going to make a notebook, or a traveler's notebook insert, and they have a different measurement. So you can see the cover right now. Yeah, the gold is seriously shedding. And that's going to be a problem later on, but when I actually start using the book, but it's really pretty right now. So I'm just going to let that dry a bit before I getting started, so I have to let it dry. Then I'm going to fold it up and just going to clip it together. And I'm going to use a ruler here and then just a knife, and I use a breakaway knife, and every time I do this I take away the last blade I had so that I know it's really sharp, and I go slowly, like sort of page by page, to make sure I get a nice even cut, because if you go too many at once you can get that sort of jagged look, and yeah, so just take it easy, and that's how easy it is. So I really like how it looks. I have been using it, today it's the 18th, and I have used this every day because it's my day book. I really like how it looks, and yeah, so here are some photos before I started using it. I really like it, and I hope you give it a try. Here's another book I made the same way with some paper I made, and yeah, later I will make a flip through of the book so far, and I hope you have a really great week.